just, you guys know how to teach people. You know how to make it make sense, basically. So when people are, watching any of your social content, you can really use that opportunity to shine and to be able to teach the concepts that will allow people to understand. I've had so many people come on to like a consult call with me, and I'll ask them, well, why did you book a call with me? What made you choose me? There's lots of people out there who do Facebook ads. And typically they will say, well, that video that I watched, I felt like, I understood what you were telling me for the first time. I understood what to do or what was next or whatever it was. It just really resonated with them in that way. And so I really feel like educators kind of have that advantage. You know how to kind of build a lesson plan and say, this is what I'm teaching you. And this is, the end point. At the end of this video, this is what I want them to learn. And so I think educators have an advantage in that regard. And then just really as an assistant principal, just the leadership aspect and saying, and teachers, trust me, you are leaders just as much from that classroom, because, teachers are CEOs of that classroom in general. So just kind of having that automatic leadership ability to take charge, to run with things, have to be self-motivated. Nobody's kind of standing over you every moment telling you, what to do. How to get things done. And that is absolutely necessary in business. And even just leading your clients. I know I've had to kind of come to points where I've led clients through either a mindset shift or whatever, where they just felt a little overwhelmed. And that leadership skill came in handy, like, because I was able to get her through that so that we could really focus on what she needed to focus on to make money in her business.
Yeah, it's definitely a very less sought after career field because of the burnout rate, especially for our educators pre and also post the pandemic recently. But we always definitely pay homage to all of the educators that have hung in there and continued the fight to educate our youth and uplift our youth. And so again, shout out to all the educators that are out there. Listeners, if you have any questions for my very special guest, Miss Amber McDuffie, feel free to come on to the stage, or even in Twitter, feel free to come onto the stage and ask any questions that you may have of my very special guest, Amber McDuffie. But stay with that point too, what you were leading into before the sponsor break, where you were speaking about the funnels. For those who may not know about just the simple terms of funnels, who are not in the ad or marketing space, like what is a funnel? And also, how can you create funnels for your business or even for your service?
That is such a good question, because sometimes I do kind of get into marketing speak and realize that term is not as, basically understood as I sometimes think. But truthfully, a funnel can be so many things. And a funnel just really represents you having this person who is now aware of your business and taking them on a very strategic and purposeful journey of leading them up to making a decision about buying your product. And that decision could be yes or no, but nonetheless, you have strategically led them to make a decision, versus them just kind of hanging out there and trying to figure it all out on their own. And so I would say, in the broad sense, that's really what a funnel is doing, is purposely taking people on this customer journey. And so the customer journey is kind of made up of 3 parts, where it's just awareness. People can't buy from you if they don't know that you exist. So you start there and just say, hey, I want to get my business in front of more people who can now at least, have an opportunity to look into what I offer. Then the next step is, once they are aware, now they can actually consider buying from you. And a lot goes into that. First, they have to kind of decide that they like you and that they trust you. And so that's where some of your content can come in, but you also have to educate them on how your product or service will actually benefit them and what it would do to actually solve their problem, and fully paint that picture for them. What are the outcomes that they could expect? What is that transformation going to look like? So that type of content in there, which you may have heard of as nurture content, is not just about building a relationship. I mean, that relationship is built if you consistently stay in front of them. but then strategically having the type of content that allows them to make a decision. How can they access your product? When can they access it? How long? What's the price? Basically giving them all of the information that they need in order to make a decision. And then that final stage is the decision, making sure you have a clear call to action. What do they need to do next? Do they need to book a call with you? Do they need to click this button here? Do they need to sign up and enroll? Just being very clear on what their final step is so that they can decide yes or no. Now, obviously, there's different types of copy that you can use through that funnel to really move people along. And at certain steps, conversion copy is really going to be important. In fact, at every step, I feel like you need to be telling people about your business your offer. So even if somebody is just now becoming aware of you, you may not sell super hard to them, but at some point you need to make an offer. Even within that first meeting, they need to know what you have to offer so that they can start kind of on that research journey about who you are and if this will actually work for them.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it has to be clear and concise. And do you recommend for those that I know I hear a lot of times about having like a lead magnet, something that you give them as a free offer, like an ebook or some type of potential product or something that's not as expensive to give away for free? Like I thought
Yeah.
having a lead magnet at the end of that funnel process.
For sure. Yeah, that is typically what I recommend at the very beginning. So if somebody is first becoming aware of you, you are still making an offer, but it's a free offer, right? So it's a free. What I usually find that works really well is some kind of template or checklist, something that's easy for them to consume. Like they can say, okay, if I get this, I can probably look at this and within 10 to 15 minutes know what it is. And those ads, if you have a Facebook ad going to that kind of lead magnet, it typically costs a little bit less. Not that your whole goal is just to get cheap leads. You want to get quality and qualified leads, but it's a really good way to usher in a lot of new people. If you do something like a webinar is also a lead magnet because it's free for them to watch it. But people tend to associate that with, okay, I'm gonna have to set aside, 30 minutes to 90 minutes to watch it. And so it might be a little bit more costly to get a lead for that because not everyone is willing to make that commitment right off the bat with somebody that they just met. But nonetheless, these are free offers that really get you in front of people and it allows you to get their information so that you can continue to communicate with them and make more offers to your actual paid offer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely what I've heard is the consistent approach, especially having those lead magnets to get people to reel them in order to even gain that trust and stay with that point too. Like how have you seen Facebook? I always talk to people who are in the ads and marketing space. Like, how do you see Facebook being more trustworthy than, let's say, Instagram or a TikTok? Even though IG is owned by Meta, like how do you see Facebook being like one of the lead trusted social media applications that people, when they see ads or see different boost posts on Facebook,